Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. We are currently in Ishgard in front of Hilda and her crew, where we want to continue the Machinist questline and its Stormblood part. So Hilda, last time we found a sword. Hilda has a letter for you from Rostnsthal. Where have you been, Desiree? I've been itching to open this letter from Rostnsthal, but he addressed it to you. Come on, let's see what he has to say. Mystery solved. I took a good look at Naldic and Vimeli's stock, and the firearms one of theirs. Limsa has some bloody strict regulations on the export of firearms, so our bandit chief must have had a back alley supplier. Get your ass to Limsa and we find out who put that weapon in our thief's hand. I'll be at the airfield right on the lower decks. Rostnsthal. So he's on the trail then. Good. Just let me get my gear and we can be off. What? You're going with Desiree? Is that really a good idea? I'm with Simi on this one, Hilda. If the leader of the Hounds starts picking quarrels on foreign soil, we could be looking at all sorts of trouble for Ishgard. Ishgard's where the bloody trouble started, and since when have folk of the broom been content to sit back and let others handle the dirty work? I'm going, that's the end of it, but I promise I'll be on my best behavior. Alright. Limsa's full as always. What's that sour look for then? What the bloody hell is she doing here? I put your bleeding name on the letter and all. I need to see this through. If I don't, then whatever Hound's good for. You'll just have to humor me. I was aiming to avoid political complications, seeing as Desiree and me ain't tied too tightly to any one nation. You're just lucky I have a soft spot for fools that ignore the risk of what to make a point. Let's get to it then. The bloke most likely to have supplied that firearm is the same bastard that tried to buy the sword. Our black marketeer friend. If we're lucky, he might have an idea where the brigands run off to. I have a mind to squeeze him until an answer pops out. Aye, I'd like to have a word or two with that bandit leader myself. He's a loose end what needs tying up. And we're on the same page. According to me sources, we should find the merchant in the anchor yard. Let's get over there and get this business over with. Good day to you, Master Merchant. How about we have us a little chat, eh? You ain't getting away this time, matey. Best start talking if I start cutting. Well, if it isn't the Hounds, was it? What can a humble peddler such as myself do for Ishgard's finest? I must capture the bandit leader. I'm but a humble merchant. Surely I would be more hindrance than help in such an If you're not feeling helpful, then maybe I should pay a visit to the Yellowjack as a mention of firearm your well-known customer was using, or maybe I'll just skip straight to them as upholds the coat. Now, let's not be too hasty. Maybe I can make an exception in this case. In exchange for your silence regarding my trade in exotic weapons. I believe the gentleman in question has a camp at Providence Point in the Central Highlands. That's where I would look. Providence Point, huh? Well, that's a start. If you're playing us false, I'll be back to feed the crabs with your lying tongue. In fact, if I ever hear you're dealing in stolen goods again, you can add a few more body parts to that list. Nice doing business with you. Never accept a deal from a client you know naught about, but that woman offered me so much gold, I ignored my own rule. Mayhap it's time I retired from this business. Woman, huh? Where? Ah, there you are, bandit leader. What? How did you? You've signed your own death warrant coming here. So, Mr. Bandit Leader. Gods no, you've killed me precious! I came running when I heard the shots, but it seems you had things well in hand. Oh bugger, there's more of you. Please, I do anything you ask, just don't kill me. Stop your blubbering cur, we ain't going to kill you. Not just yet, any road. That'll depend on the answer you give us. Answers? What's your on about, Desiree? The identity of the employer. Wait, it went that black market bloke? I guess he'd have wanted more than just what's wrong, huh? Them other brigands we captured were bloody clueless. They only knew what the job was, not the who or the why. Meaning the whole deal was made through this bastard. Start barking, dog, and you might just save your own hide. It was pirates once. That was another bitch admiral passed for bloody law. A bloke like us, though, we ain't cut out for honest work. We'd almost drunk through the last of our plunder when that back alley peddler showed up with some overpainted wench. Said she had a job for us. All we had to do was filch a special sword from the Holy See. Ha! For a purse she offered, we'd have stolen the whole bleeding vault. And who was this woman? Part of the deal was that we didn't ask no questions. Even the merchant didn't know her real name. It was odd, but we needed the coin, and I didn't rightly care either way. The job itself was easy as taking a piss. She even paid for me to have a firearm to use, and sent us down a road where we didn't see no guards. Where the gods only know how she managed that trick. All we did was follow a map and then shoot the locks on the vault. Walked in and grabbed the sword, walked out. Bold as you please. The trouble came after the delivery was made. She gave the blade back to you? Aye, she sent for me again the day after. Pushed the sword back into my hand along with a sack full of coin. Said she'd made a mistake or someone and that I should sell the damn thing. Well, I ain't fool enough to try fencing a relic like that on me own, so I went back to the merchant. You were fool enough not to properly burn your contract of sale. How do you think we found you in the first place? Contract of sale? What the hell are you talking about? You think I'd leave a deal like that in ink for the whole world to see? Things are starting to make sense now. There's just one little problem with your story. I told you the truth, I swear. It was adventure that put us up to it. Aye, that bit I believe. What catches in me craw is a reason for handing back the sword. That was no mistake, and us finding that contract of sale this bastard says he never wrote was no mistake either. No, me was led by the nose to reclaim Runting before it was sold, and the quickest way to learn the whys of it might be to ask the blade itself. Would you mind carting this piece of offal back to Ishgard, Rostnsthal? Come with me, Desiree. We need to pay us a visit to Muscadine and convince him to take a closer look at that sword. If it weren't for that witch Mulwhip and her shite-eating law, I'd still be sailing on the high seas. I take care of this peasant. You just concern yourself with inspecting that sword. Mistress Desiree, how may I— Ah, you again. Was there some choice insight you'd forgotten to spit at me during our previous meeting? Truce, Muscadine. I wouldn't be here if it weren't important. I see. So you believe that Runting may have been altered in some fashion before you were allowed to reclaim it? It's a bit too bloody convenient, don't you think? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'd rather look the fool than risk somewhat happening at the ceremony. We need to check that sword. I must admit, your passion confounds me. The blade is recovered and your hounds have done their duty. Why bother pursuing such a faint suspicion? Why willingly endure the presence of a man you so clearly despise? Oh, I hate your bleeding guts, but once we take on a job, we do the damn thing right. Desiree gave her all to save Ishkat. How could I look her in the eye if I let our petty feud get in the way of my duty? Such pride. I have not seen this side of you before. It is as you say. If there truly is some flaw or trickery in the blade that disrupts the ceremony, the consequences could be grave indeed. And yet there are rules in place which prevent me from simply handing Runting over to the Hounds. Furthermore, our resident blacksmith has already inspected the recovered weapon and declared it sound. Even so, I will call upon Lord Stephanivian to conduct an independent examination. A machinist may notice a detail that a blacksmith would overlook. I trust this can be accomplished with the requisite discretion. It can. Very good. As far as the release of Runting is concerned, the manufactory is a sanctioned facility. The bureaucrats will be satisfied even should I secure the necessary permissions after the fact. I shall begin making the arrangements. Well, that's that then. Let's get back to the room and tell the news to Rostnsthal. Keep one hand near your weapon, Desiree. My gut says this business ain't over by a long shot. Back when are you? I don't rightly know what the story was with that sword, but Hilda seems happy with what he did. That's good enough for me. Lord Stephanivian will get to the bottom of this. You see if he doesn't. Best thing we can do is get back to our drills and leave him to it. Muscadine is not known for his love of a lowborn. I didn't expect he'd just... I thought I'd have to put up more of a fight, is what I'm saying. Well, the sword's with the manufactory now, so I have no complaint. That's where I meant to take it in the first place. Now we wait. But don't get too comfortable, Desiree. Things are sure to come to a head soon enough. Alright, level 70. We've just had a messenger from the manufactory. Seems to have finished looking over the sword. Let's head on over and hear what Lord Stephanivian has to say. The mongrel and the knight, huh? Remember, in Heavensward, Hilda's nickname was the Mongrel. That's why they're Hilda's Hounds. All the relevant parties appear to be present. If you would, Lord Stephanivian. Very well. I'll cut straight to the point and discovered a small bomb concealed inside the hilt of a sword. This particular explosive was part of a batch intended for Temple Knight training purposes and is designed to be detonated from a distance. I won't bore you with specifics, but I assure you that I'm quite familiar with its capabilities. After all, I was the one who made it. Bloody hells. Someone went to a lot of trouble to sneak that bomb into the ceremony. An assassination attempt? Unlikely. As I said, these bombs are designed for training exercises. Even if you were grasping the hilt when it exploded, you wouldn't even lose a finger. Some nasty burns at the worst? That would be more than enough. If a sacred blade were to be dropped during the investitures, many in the crowd would interpret it as a sign from a fury. The Lord Commander's authority could come into question, and responsibility for the incident would fall squarely upon the Hounds. Ah, so someone wished to discredit the Watch beyond salvation. That would explain the ridiculous rumors presently circulating amongst the lords and ladies. Rumors? What rumors? Why, that Runting's theft and recovery was orchestrated entirely by the Watch itself. Some of the more impressionable members of the nobility are convinced you armed bandits with firearms, instructed them to steal the sword, and then captured them yourselves to elevate your standing. The mood's already sour and simmering. But if a sword exploded on top of that, It would be like throwing oil on the fire. Reason be damned, it would be a watcher's ads on the chopping block. Who could have instigated the gossip behind the baseless accusations? I ordered the events surrounding hunting's theft to be kept in the strictest of confidences. The woman who arranged the theft. Ah, well, she would know all about it, wouldn't she? I suspect a villainous fears the threat to the status quo, and the high profile of the Hounds has made you a target. A strike against you is a strike against the idea of any commoner bearing the power of a firearm. I'm flattered to know we've become so important, but she picked the wrong pack of dogs to counter. Now it's our turn to go on the hunt. Going after the mastermind, huh? I'm all for a bit of retribution, but we'll need a better description than overpainted wench. Fortunately, my prospectometer and I are one step ahead of you this time. As soon as I discovered the bomb, I set to work crafting a device that would help us pinpoint the location of its paired detonator, and thus leading us directly to the one who holds it. I propose we simply proceed with the ceremony as planned, and catch this fool red-handed. Not a bad plan, as long as we're prepared for any accomplices she might have lurking along with her. The ceremony is almost upon us. Let us steel ourselves for the task ahead. We'll sort out our strategy, then head back to the broom. Meet us there when you're ready, Desiree. I have some final calibrations to make to the detection device. It may need further adjustment as it owns in on the signal, but I shall be on hand to assist you at St. Valorant's Forum. And the battle begins. Or soon it begins. I wasn't planning on doing more than teach trigger work, but to hell with it. Let's catch these bastards, Desiree. Don't you worry about the ceremony security. It's what we've been training for. We'll show them blue blood just how far we've come. Go and take care of them bastards that try to frame us. Oh, and keep an eye on Hilda while you're at it, huh? Right this way. The ceremony is about to begin. Here's the plan. Muscadet and the other Hounds will be handling security as scheduled so as not to arouse suspicion. We reckon Milady will have someone watching the proceedings, ready to tell her the best moment to detonate the little bomb. Likely right as the blade rests on an initiate's shoulder. That's how I do it anyhow. The Watcher shouldn't be too hard to spot, and the Hounds can nab him before he gets away. Meanwhile, we'll be waiting at St. Valorant's Forum with Stefanivian's device, ready to move as soon as we're sure of a detonator's location. Bring your best ammunition, Desiree. If this woman can organize a clear route through the vault, then she's like to have worse than a few ragged bandits on her side. What's taking so long, boss? The ceremony has already begun. Some quiet, if you will. If I can't catch the exact moment the detonator is activated. I have it. The signal came from the far edge of a broom. The smart bastards are hiding right in our home territory. Right then, we'd best go give them a proper bloody welcome. This Melissy, is the crowd enjoying our What? Nothing? Not even a puff of smoke? Surprise, we found your bomb. The Hounds! I know you. You that noble bitch what ignored me outside the vault. In the right place at the right time to plant that bandit rumor, eh? And I suppose you was the one who penned that contract of sale, too. What nonsense is this? I have no memory of fraternizing with commoners. Ah, got your attention this time, didn't I? Good thing too, since I have a wagon lot more questions for you. Here's one. Are your Inquisitor friends were going to come quietly? You and your Hounds will be the only ones surrendering their arms this day. Not only have you interfered with official inquisitorial business, you've also insulted and accused an innocent member of the nobility. Maybe a spell in the dungeon will remind you of your station. Now, see here. The Hounds have solid evidence that these individuals are party to a serious crime. Speak with Sir Muscadine and all will be now we meet the rest of the rats. If you was wondering how the noble wench got hold of a training bomb or cleared a route through the vault of them bandits, and here's your answer. I reckon they'd show their whiskers sooner or later. You're sworn to protect Ishka and you choose to throw your lot in with this highborn dolt? Sir Emmerich's fighting to keep the city from tearing itself apart. Why don't you just stab a blade in his back while you're at it? The time for empty bravado has passed, child. We're not common savages. Give yourself up and I promise you shall live to see the morrow. Hey, you can stick that promise right up your ass. That common enough for you? This is over. In our authority as Ishgard's watch, we're taking you in for crimes of larceny, insurgency, and general bloody idiocy. Go ahead and resist us then. I bloody dare you.
Is that all you've got?
How dare you speak to me in such a manner? Dispose of its low-born filth.
Right there!
That went well. Wait, that's the noblewoman. Ah, the wretch must have slipped away while he was in the thick of it. She can't have gotten far. There, she flees toward the ark. Desiree? Come on, you lot, after her. Nice, but for once, I'm the one starting to run. 8th Sir Knight, I know not their grievance, but these lowborn ruffians seek to cause me harm. Let us disperse with Theatrix, Baroness Melcy. After capturing your accomplice at the ceremony, it was surprisingly easy to prize free the details of your plan. You have sided with these commoncurs? I thought you were a proud member of a nobility. As one of a chosen few, how can you countenance any act that places power in the filthy hands of a broomborn? The chosen few. An accident of birth allowed us the privilege to fight for our nation. And I, for one, welcome our new comrades in arms. Your actions bond you an enemy of Ishgard, and you will pay for your crimes. This is blasphemy! I'm an inquisitor, you betray your bloodline, and thus it falls to me to excise the corruption seeping into our nation's veins. I kill you! I kill you all!
That's far enough!
It would seem you're past talking. Forward, Hounds! I will turn to heresy if I must. Perish by fire and fang! Did you just quaff the blood of a dragon? I heard tales, but to see the transformation firsthand? Can't say I expected that from an Inquisitor. She's lost her bloody marbles. Death to the lowborn! Death to all vermin. Burn in righteous flames.
One shot, one kill.
Hilda, maybe not standing in the fire? You have defiled my beloved Ishkat. I will turn the city to ash. I don't like the look of that fireball, but I do somewhat this way.
Let's finish it. Oh, bugger.
It is finished. The Baroness and her cronies believe that none but the nobility are fit to lead Ishgard's people. They resented efforts to bring highborn and lowborn closer in standing. It would seem that the Hounds' formation was too great a threat to be endured. All he wants is a little respect and the strength to defend our home. What are they so bloody afraid of? They fear the erosion of their status, and they must confess to feeling a whisper of its unreasoning terror. Had I succumbed to my jealousy and hate, I may have joined them upon that twisted path. But I had misjudged you. I believed you so reviled the circumstance of your birth that you sought only to bring ruin upon Ishgard. Until recently, you wouldn't have been far off the mark. It was Desiree and Sir Amalric who convinced me that fighting for change was a damn sight more worthwhile than adding to the misery. Indeed. Pray forgive the barbs I've slung at you and your hounds, Captain. I've been blind to the courage and determination of the common folk, and I humbly request that the Watch continue to aid us in the defense of the city. You didn't deserve all the spite I spat at you, neither. I see his face when I look at you, and I just can't bloody help myself. I try to work on that, though, huh? I must go now and see to the processing of the prisoners. Be well, sister. Sister! Your siblings, then? I was unaware that you and Sir Muscadine were so closely connected. Left the part out, did I? Ah, he's my half-brother, born to another woman after my darling dad cast my mum back onto the streets. Well, that ain't the thing what you just blurt out now, is it? Not someone I bring up often, no. And I don't reckon Muscadine was too keen on declaring his relation to the mongrel, especially after he inherited the old man's estate. Well, might be as you can put that bad blood behind you now. Better than drowning in it, any road. Might be as you're right, Rostnsthal. most admirable woman you've become, my dear. Not to mention a champion to the people of a broom. It seems I was right to put that firearm in your hand. And I thank you for taking that gamble. You gave me more than just a weapon that day. You gave me control over my fate. If it weren't for you, I'd likely still be scrounging in the streets and casting at the sky. 'Tis gratifying indeed to see how far you've come. Now I really must return to the workshop. This mountain of commissions only grows larger the longer I neglect it, as Joy would so sharply remind me. We'd best get back to the broom ourselves. Simmer and Hilda stand. They'll be wondering what's become of us. So, that was her power. Our job here is finished, when you say Desiree. We did it, huh? After all that, the ceremony went smooth as a babe's backside. I wonder what our next assignment will be. After seeing how the Temple Knights handled guard duty, I realized a few things the Hounds could stand to do better. A bit more training and a bit more discipline, and we get there. The sword's been returned, the Baroness is in fetters, and the Hounds have shown themselves a force to be reckoned with. Happy endings all around, huh? Your lads and lasses was a bit rough to start with, but I can't rightly call them pups anymore. You'll do fine without us, I'd say. What, so you're both leaving, man? I thought you have a few more tricks to share. Don't start whining now, lass. We've given you the tools and the foundation. You can build the rest of a bleeding house yourself. Aye, that we can. Thank you. Alright, let's not get all bloody sentimental then. I'm off. Fair winds to you, Desiree. Our thanks to you as well, Desiree. Come back and visit when you can. I'm sure the Hounds will have some new stories to tell. And we get the flamethrower ability and the gunner's attire coffer. This concludes the Machinist quest for Stormblood. It goes on in Shadowbringers. And so on and so forth. Good. I'm a Machinist, not a man. Free. Oh, hey, the Hounds. The Hounds are trotting along just fine thanks to you and the old pirate. I've even been working with Muscadine to coordinate our efforts with the Temple Knights. Before long, it'll be as if a watch was part of a city, like we was one of them stones in the wall. And how are you? I don't rightly understand the relation, but ever since the House of Commons was founded, we've been getting a flood of folk looking to sign up for the watch. Could be, but seeing my fellows accomplish something worthwhile has given them a hunger to do the same. I'd say they found themselves a bit of pride in their home, huh? Alright, and that's, as I said, the Stormblood quest for the Machinist, and... or the other way around, no matter. Until next time then, when we play more Final Fantasy XIV, I'm Ace, and don't get lost.